What is up, everyone? This is SwordKing090 and this is going to be a brand new video for you today. Today's topic is about my voice. Yes, it sounds like I'm very narcissistic or even conceited when I say it or talk about this, but I just wanted to say that sometimes I just hate how deep my voice is. Well, it's not as deep right now because I am just like rising up the tone of it just for this video, but if I were to speak normally, then that's the thing I'm talking about. So if I were to just go ahead and not even try to sound so enthusiastic, then this is how my voice would sound like, and I could actually make it go a little bit deeper if I wanted to, if I actually wanted to, you know, not even try to be so loud, or just pretty much go down a little bit of a baritone status. But at times I really don't like how it is, because for people who have hard of hearing, especially the elderly people, I have to actually raise up my voice so that they'll be able to hear me. But the thing is that to me, if I were to raise up my voice, it's a little bit, it's at that point, you know, if you were to raise up your voice against other people, it's kind of like a little bit of sign of disrespect, and I really don't want to be yelling at people, and especially when I'm at a workplace when dealing with customers. Yeah, it wouldn't look so good if an employee is actually yelling at a customer for them to actually be heard. So that is just not what I really like about having a deep voice, a deep baritone voice where it's just so low and resonating to where that people cannot actually hear you at times because of how low it sounds. Especially if I were to mumble here and there, I just don't, I'm a little bit shy not to even speak any words, and I just don't know what to say. That's the thing that people cannot hear me. So there's a reason why I actually go a little bit of a higher tone for my videos, as you can hear right now. It is because that people could actually hear me better, and as well as it kind of makes me sound more enthusiastic. That's the thing I kind of really don't like about my voice. My natural voice, it doesn't really sound all that loud. It's just a little bit deep, and as well as a baritone type of level that at times is very hard to be even heard. So there's a reason why with editing you're able to actually rise up the levels of the whole editing thing. So if I actually go more of my natural voice, then I could actually just raise up the levels of that in the audio commentary, and then you'll be able to hear me fine. But normally if we were to speak face to face, at times it's very hard for me to be heard, and I actually had to repeat myself a few times because of the fact of the matter is that if I'm not yelling, then they will not be able to hear me. But if I am not yelling, if I yell, they can hear me. If I'm not yelling, then they have trouble hearing me. That's the thing I really don't like about it. That's just one of those things, guys. It's just one of those things that I kind of think about from time to time, and I had to deal with a customer who was pretty much partially deaf. Seriously, on the drive-thru no less. I tried to take his order, but he kept telling me that he can't hear me. I raised up my voice a little bit louder. He said he still can't hear me. So I told him, please pull up to the window. And I had a line of cars right behind him too, so that's a little bit more stressful. So I had to deal with that. So when he pulls up to the window, he was an elderly guy, probably past the age of 60 to 70, and he still couldn't hear me even though I was talking to him face to face. That was just bad. Honestly, that was really bad. And at that one point, I was just thinking to myself, I know that this was bad for me to think about, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you were holding up the line, and why actually go to the drive-thru if you can't hear well? I just don't understand that. You could have easily just walked inside the store, and then he was able to actually point out what he wants on the menu. And even then, the order took a little bit of about around 2 minutes, because one thing is that he couldn't even hear me, even though I was trying my best not to yell at him so that he could actually hear me. But at the same time, it's like I needed to raise up my voice so that he can hear me. And even then, the order was a little bit even complicated in its own, because I asked him if he wanted this and this. It's like, what do you think is the best? It's like, well, let's go with the basic default because that's what everybody else gets, so let's go with that. So yeah, I think he understood that I was not trying to yell at him, but at the same time, it's like I really didn't want to raise up my voice because at that point it would have been a sign of disrespect. So it's very hard to actually try to be genuine when yelling. You cannot be genuine when you're yelling at someone. You cannot be really kind when you're yelling at someone, unless is that, of course, they know what the intentions behind it. If you're like 50 feet away and you gotta yell, then that's understandable. But if you're face to face and you gotta yell at somebody, then you could already you could kind of tell what the intention is behind that type of motive, or whatever you want to call it, just behind that type of tone. I really don't like yelling at customers, but at times whenever they're hard of hearing, I have to raise up my voice a little bit so that they could actually hear me. It's just one of those things, guys. It sucks. I've actually had to deal with that a few times, and it's kind of awkward when there's more customers around. It's like, I have no problem when there's not really much that customers around, but at the same time, it's like, if I have to do it in front of other customers, I really don't want them to have the impression that I'm just being angry or annoyed at that point, because yelling is usually a sign of irritation. Irritation, aggravation, however you want to call it, with the different types of synonyms. I really don't like doing that. And especially for my videos, I have to be a little bit loud. I have to change my tone so that it just makes me sound like I'm more enthusiastic, or that with my normal voice, it just doesn't sound like I'm unenthusiastic or monotone. Seriously though, I have a dark voice. Not dark, I have a deep voice that is baritone, and at times that if I were to go with my like natural monotonish type of voice, that's when people are kind of driven away from it. It's just these videos don't call for a monotone voice, they call for a more like ramped up voice. I have no idea. I am terrible with the actual synonyms at this point. I'm very terrible at it, but what can I do? Honestly, like, I always ask for you guys' feedback, because you're the ones that actually tell me about these things that I worry too much about. I worry about myself a lot, and at times it probably not be all that big of a deal, but again, I always ask for feedback so I know that from other people that they could actually tell me like, hey, don't worry about it, you sound fine. Or it's like, okay, I can understand why you had to be so loud, so when I thought you were boring with your older videos, then I apologize for that. I don't know how things are gonna go, because when I actually played back my older videos, it was so cringeworthy to me personally that I could not even stand listening to myself talk with the terrible audio and more or less a monotone voice, because when I was making videos back then, I was going for the more calmish voice type of deal, whereas it's relaxed, it's just a video of me talking about something. There's no need for me to be yelling every single sentence. So that was the thing I actually went by, and some people liked it and some people just said that you're boring. So at this point, I try to fix that by being a little bit more louder so that people could actually hear me clearly, and as well as that, with that type of tone, they could think that I am being more enthusiastic with my videos. I'm not trying to be monotone, I'm not trying to be boring in my videos, I'm just trying to be a little bit more calm in my videos, so that it's just what it's called for. You don't need for me to yell at every single sentence with this type of deal where I'm just fixing up the lava right here, because my god, it is very annoying to actually deal with this lava. But this is more of my natural voice. It's more natural than for me to be a little bit of more higher tone and try to actually make a commentary with this. But again, let me know in the comment section below, like, what is it that actually sounds good to you? Honestly, I really want to know, because I want to be more comfortable using my normal voice rather than being more high-pitched, or not high-pitched, just higher toned, if you were to call it that. Again, I'm not so good with definitions, I'm not so good with synonyms, I'm not so good with vocabulary, so if you can understand what I'm trying to say, then that's perfect. If not, then I'm just making myself look like a bigger fool out of this. But again, just let me know in the comment section below of how well I sound. I really don't want to sound conceited, or narcissistic, or whatever verb or vocabulary you could call me at this point. But again, I really need to know from you guys, can I go with my natural voice type of deal, or should I actually continue on doing a more higher tone? Or is it just, it's just probably like, what's the word? What is that word? I am just struggling right now. Just what calls for it? That's probably what I need to actually ask. What really calls for myself to have a little bit of a more higher tone voice than just every other day I'm using a normal voice? I don't know. Again, from you guys, I get the feedback from you guys, and you guys help me out a lot when you're answering my questions, rather than the people who say first. I'm probably gonna have to make a video about that, because I've kind of had it. I kind of had enough with the whole first type of deal. I know a lot of people are gonna continue on doing that, but I always ignore these guys. But now I really got to get this weight off my shoulder. I really got to say this right now, and maybe people will be deterred away from my videos, so be it. But I really want real feedback, and even as I speak, there's gonna be one person who's gonna say first in the comments. So I read the feedback, I read real feedback, and more than likely I actually respond to real feedback from people rather than them just saying first. But in any other case, like I said, this is more of my natural voice, and if I want to go a little bit more baritone, I could actually do that. But again, I really need to know from you guys, does this sound actually, or does this sound good to you? Let me know. I really need to know so that I could be more comfortable by doing this rather than doing this all the time, because really it just sounds like I'm faking it every single time. I really don't want to do that, but I can understand why people would want to have this over this. Again, it's whatever people prefer. I need to know from you guys. So in any other case, I'm just going to end it off with this. I just wanted to go higher tone, lower tone type of deal to let you guys know the difference. And especially if you were to look at my older videos, technically older, but more of my recent videos, you could already tell how different I sound, because I want to keep the viewers actually I want to keep the viewers, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say here, I'm drawing a mind blank right now. I just want to keep the viewers watching my videos by having the more higher tone voice, so that they think I'm sounding more exciting, but at the same time I really just like to keep a more calm commentary if needed be, especially if I were to get scared or jump scare or something like that in other videos, cough cough, Five Nights at Freddy's, then that's going to be one of those other things. But yeah, like I said, well, cars, I really need to soundproof my window. So I need to know from you guys, like, what really calls for it, or if you really don't see a difference at all. Again, it's just whatever people prefer or whatever people say. I look for the feedback. Maybe there's not much of a difference, but I won't know unless you tell me. I can never really criticize myself all that much, so this is why I look for your feedback. But this is going to be the end of this video. I wanted to make this like 5 minutes, but then that turned into 10 minutes. So yeah, I'm going to end off this video. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe, because I upload videos every single day except for Sundays, because that's going to be my day of rest. All my social media is down in the description below, so if you'd like to contact me, that is one way to do so. And especially if you have a thing for me to make a video about, any suggestions, questions, hypothetical situations that you would like for me to answer, feel free to leave those in the comment section below. So if I do answer it, I'll give you a shout out in that video or the next video. So keep in mind that in the future videos from this point on, I'm going to go a little bit higher tone until I read enough feedback telling me that this is okay. So until then, I'll probably make a little bit of an update video. So have a great day, everyone. Let me go finish this block off, because okay, there we go. So have a great day, everyone. I'm Sorokeen090, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.